Hey everybody, and welcome to the Double Stuff Podcast, where we're double the hosts, double the topics, and double the fun. And I'm Dan.
I'm Charity.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alan.
Any pet owners in the audience today?
Ding, ding, ding. Right here. I got a rescue dog. Don't have the bumper sticker of who rescued who, but
Not yet.
I did. That's true. Who knows? But yeah, I have a dog that we rescued from I don't know if it's the Kansas Humane Society. Maybe it's a chapter of. It's the one that's over on Hillside.
I think that is the Kansas Humane Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when we went to the Kansas Humane Society, I had only heard stories of if you want to adopt a dog, you have to, that people are going to come out and assess like your house, your backyard, your fence, and make sure that it's appropriate and things like that. And maybe have a couple of interviews. And I'm only going off this with friends and family. So I went to the Humane Society not thinking that I was going to get a dog. If you go to the Humane Society, be prepared to leave with a dog in 15 minutes because they are ready to go. They are ready to go. Yeah. I went in with our family. We took a look around and I was looking for an older dog. I don't want a puppy. I don't want anything that's going to chew on my house. I don't want anything that's going to dig in my yard. So I was looking for the oldest dog there. And there was this beautiful dog that had the height of like a boxer, kind of had a boxer body, but had like the face of like a pit bull.
Aww.
And it was all white fur with a big black patch over one eye. And it just looked cool. And that's the one that immediately grabbed my eye. So we went into the family like meeting room and this thing came in on rocket fuel.
Ooh.
And it zoomed around the room, took a stuffed animal, destroyed it, completely ripped it to shreds in front of everybody, paid no attention to my girls or me or anybody. And I was doing the hand over the neck to my wife. I was like, no. And so I don't know whatever happened to Chance, R.I.P. Chance. I don't know what happened to him. But the other one was a dog that I, at first glance, did not want because it had just had a litter. But for some reason, my youngest was really into this dog, and she waddled into the meeting room, laid on her on the ground in front of my girls, and just like went spread eagle and let the girls like rub her belly for 15 minutes. And I said, "That's the one. That's the one," and has turned into be the best dog ever.
Okay, but that's not a senior dog, right? Because isn't she still young?
Okay, well, so I learned a couple of things. All right.
You always do.
Yes. So they had said that she was north of 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, like I said, she had just had a litter. So her, I don't know what's appropriate. Should we bleep this out? Her teats were descended.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had obviously just had a litter. When we took her to the vet so that we could get her registered with the city, the vet took a look at her and said, "Oh, I don't even think this dog is a year old."
That's crazy.
And I said,
gosh.
"That doesn't make sense." I said, "She's had a litter." And he said, "Oh, dogs can have a litter at 6 months."
Wow.
What? Snap.
I
What?
had
Did
no
not know that.
idea.
I didn't know that.
I'm so glad humans ain't like that. My
Yeah,
gosh.
no
Good
kidding.
night.
The children here. So anyway, apparently I did get a puppy and it did dig in my yard and it did chew up on my house, but she turned out to be okay.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I've always been a big fan of animals, but we never had a lot of them growing up. Actually, my dad was very adamant about not having a pet, especially a dog, because he didn't want to take care of it. He wanted us to take care of it, and we were not nearly responsible enough for that. So eventually he did break down and get us a dog. And I love that dog. We had this cute little German wire hair pointer, real small, good. Like, we didn't go hunting, but like we would take it out to fields and he would just run around and then point at things all the time. Unfortunately, let's just say he ran away and we didn't have him for very long. And then we got a cat who was bipolar. Like, it was just one of those cats where, like, you would just be petting it, she'd be all lovey on you, and then she would just go for you, just attack you out of nowhere.
I think that's just called a cat, Dan.
Yeah, lots of cats.
No, because that's the thing. My cats don't do that.
I don't know. I have that experience.
Did you? So did you guys have other pets, like, growing up then?
I'm going to hijack it one more time.
Go for
just
it.
going off your last one, because we had this demon cat named Coco. That was a calico cat when I was growing up. And I think that my parents had it when they were early in their marriage or something, because I was very young and I'm allergic to cats. And I don't know, it's probably because of Coco. She was evil. She would pretend to be nice. And I can remember as a kid, very young memories of her just going along. She would hop up onto my bed at night. She would go along and I would pet her. And then she would turn around and then want to go and be petted the other way. And I would just be stroking her. And then when she was done, she would bite me every single night. And I don't know, now thinking about it, just saying this out loud, I don't know why I kept petting her, but I did. And she would bite me all the time. Well, not all the time, but when she was her hey, I'm done being petted, instead of just hopping off the bed like a good animal, like a good pet, she would bite me.
She had to let you know. It's funny that you had a pet cat named Coco. Our cat's name was Oreo, little black and white cat.
Interesting.
For
Oh,
double
how's that-
stuff.
Oh, bingo.
Look at him prophesying without even realizing it. Talk about the cats that you presently have.
Yeah, so we have two of them now. We have Ringo, who we've had for 17 or 18 years at this point. I want to say it's going on 18 years.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, he's an old man. Doesn't act like it, though. He still runs around like a terror. And then our other cat is Sakura. And she's a stray that we got. She was like hanging out around our house when we first got married. And we took her in. So we've had her for, 11 years now?
So these are all Kansas cats. You haven't picked up any new ones from Florida?
No, and we do not plan on it.
Yeah.
Two is enough.
Some cat sitting
I believe
there
it.
reclining on the grass, suntan, sunglasses.
Yeah, we had a stray that showed up at our doorstep too. Our first dog as a family. It was during the summertime, and there was this pitiful looking dog that just looked dirty and mangy that was roaming around our cul-de-sac. And I think my youngest fed it a hot dog at it must have been around 4th of July or something. But anyway, it followed us back to our home and just camped out at our doorstep. And oh, the tears and the waterworks for daddy, please, can we?
Yeah.
And I was, no, this dog's a menace. No way. And then for 2 or 3 days, this dog was just at our doorstep. And then finally I said, okay, let's go see if it's chipped, because it didn't have a collar.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to, this is back in California, we went to the Humane Society. It did not have a chip. And I was like, oh no. And they said, oh, we'll put out some bulletins, some APBs on for anybody. And true enough, it was a Shih Tzu dog, a white Shih Tzu dog. And there were some heartbroken owners that would drive by in the coming weeks and with little kids, and they were hopeful that this was their dog.
Mm.
And every time it wasn't. And I was like, are you sure? Do you want to just pretend it is?
Take it, yeah.
Take it even. But anyway, it turns out it wasn't. We gave it a bath. We only thought it had one eye. This is how mangy this dog was. I thought it was a one-eyed dog. We gave it a bath. It had another eye. It was just the hair was so matted and nasty.
Man.
Yeah.
We took it to the vet, and we think, unfortunately, the vet found a rather large mass in her abdomen. And we said, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, judging by her teeth, this dog's probably 15, 16 years old. And so we can't operate on her. And we're like, well, what do we do? And they said, just try to, keep her comfortable. And so we named her Pixel. Pixie Pixel. We tend to name our animals after graphic design elements.
Yep.
So the first one was Pixel. Our dog currently is Bezier, after the Bezier tool.
Mm-hmm. That's such a nerdy thing to do.
I know,
That's
I'm
so
such a nerd.
funny. That's so funny.
But so we called her Pixie. So for short, Pixie came in, and we just kept her comfortable, and she lasted about a year. But we think maybe the owner probably found out the same thing we found out, that it was an inoperable tumor, and just kicked her out the door or something, because she was house trained. But she was so good to the girls. The girls, I mean, by this time, at this age, the girls were 8 and 6 or something. They were very young. And she would put up with them dressing her, putting Barbies on her back to ride her like she was the horse or something. I mean, they
Older
would lay
dogs
on her.
are actually really
Yes,
good
that's
with
what I
little
was looking
kids, because
for.
they know. Yeah, they know how to handle that.
Yeah, they don't freak out so easily.
Yeah.
Or they just don't bother. Just kids will be kids.
So then, Sarah and Sarah, did you guys have any pets growing up?
The second half belongs to us.
Well, I know we talked about in another episode that we had fish that all ate each other.
Yeah, that was our first.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then earlier, before Charity and Christy were born, we talked about my fish story in season 2 about the one.
That's true. So go back and listen to those fish stories.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, we have a great track record with fish.
But we had a guinea pig at one point. We were really little.
Yeah.
We had a cat and a dog. Our little sister had a hamster at one point named Biscuit, which was really cute. But we haven't had any in our later years adult life.
The pet that we've had for the longest time was a cat named Smokey. And
oh yeah, we've had 2 cats because I was thinking of Jolly. Jolly was our first cat.
Yeah,
and Smokey was our second one.
And then I had a cat. It didn't last long. Like I said, this is before Charity and Christy. So
I was gonna say I don't remember this story. What other cat?
No, yeah, you weren't born, so of course you wouldn't remember. Yeah, the only thing I remember about that cat, talking about biting, it always hid under the bed, and I would try to pet it, and it bit me.
Oh.
Let's see, I'm trying to remember which thumb. It wasn't until actually a few years ago that mark of the cat biting me was still on my thumb for the longest time. Now I don't remember which thumb it is, which shows how much it's healed over. But if you had asked me a couple of years ago, I could say that's where he bit me.
Took 30 years.
Yeah, it did. It was quite a bite. But Smokey was the cat that we had for the longest, according to, because we got her from the Humane Society. We're in Indiana, and at least according to the story, they actually found her as a kitten in the middle of the highway.
Oh.
I have no idea how she got there.
I don't know either.
Someone possibly could have dropped her off, to, like,
or it jumped out of the window or something like that.
Something
happened. She was very small,
and it was funny because my little sister Chrissy wanted a cat, and she prayed and prayed and prayed for a cat. And Chrissy's birthday is February 4th, and so because I keep wanting to say 5th, her birthday is February 4th, and funny enough, we didn't get Smokey on the 4th, but they rescued her on the 4th of February.
Huh.
Yeah, we had her for 7 years, and she was a Harmon through and through. Like she definitely picked up on our personalities. And
that's weird how animals do that. Like they sort of gel with your vibe.
I'm always telling the girls that too, because when they come in the door and they're excited and amped up and like, hi, Pezzy, hi, and I'm like, girls, remember the dog was going to match your energy level. And so if you don't want her to jump up, and this is just a tip to anybody, you don't want the dogs to jump up on you or whatnot, you've got to calm down your energy.
Chill.
Yeah.
But I think my dad, she enjoyed Daddy the most because he used to like do a little roughhousing with her, and she used to enjoy that.
But it was funny because he was the one that like didn't want the cat, and then eventually it became besties.
Yeah.
And he would like, okay, our family, I know we're not the only people that does this, but like we would get our pets Christmas presents and like wrap them. So she would get like a catnip mouse, or like our cat loved the Temptations, the snacks, not the group,
not the singing group. Honestly, that would be so much cooler
if our cat just starts dancing, a little Motown cat.
No, Smokey, I said we got you 4 tops, not the 4 tops.
But yeah, she loved those
one for each top.
Yeah. And what was great about Smokey was that she never used to attack the Christmas tree, but she used to like to sleep under it. Like she used to like to look at the Christmas lights.
She liked to hide in the presents. So like
she did like to hide in the presents.
Morning, and we'd be like, where's Smokey? Where's she at? And we wouldn't find her until all the presents were unwrapped. She would find like the deepest, darkest corner under the tree. Yeah. And that's where she would hide.
She was making a den.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, she enjoyed Christmas,
that's interesting.
But she was a great cat, but that's the last pet that we've had. And at least me personally, I don't know if I really want to have another pet, mainly just because, one, since my schedule has gotten so much tighter now, I don't know if I can really commit.
That's a good point,
to having
because if you're gonna, you gotta make sure whatever type of pet or animal, if you can devote the time, because there are some breeds that demand a lot of exercise, a lot of. Anybody that has a furry friend, you got to feed it, you got to house it. I had to make sure that, one, I had a full-time job, because I kept saying, I was on 3 part-time jobs and I was, look, my first responsibility is to make sure that
take care of the humans, and then
we'll take care of the humans first before we start adding to the family. Yeah. But that's a good point, and that's another thing. Not only just time with lifestyle, but people have to think about, can you support that? Because if you have a giant mastiff dog, you're going through like 50-pound bags of food a week. $200-$300 a month just for your dog, and that's not vet bills, that's not boarding bills when you're traveling, that's not whatever it might be. You got to make sure it matches your lifestyle.
Well, and then to partially change the emotion, when she died, that was so devastating, and to be honest, I don't know if I want to deal with that again.
Oh sure.
So that was really hard. And so I was like, I really don't want to have another pet knowing that's going to happen.
Putting down an animal is for me, and I'm a tough guy. Well,
even tough guys can shed a tear too.
Oh man, it is hard. It is heartbreaking. When the vet says, "Okay, it's asleep," and you're like, family. "Oh my gosh." That's a very hard day.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I'm against it.
There you go.
I know, a controversial take right there, right?
Right. Smash cut to I'm against
it. Sorry, I just went to him without saying transition statement.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up was the Wichita has a really unique. Well, that's, I guess it's not unique. A lot of places have it, but it has a really good zoo. I mean, they've done a lot of work there and stuff like that. Do you get to the zoo often, either by yourself or with friends or family?
Yeah, we've been members. Have you guys ever been members or?
We've I don't think we're members, but we have gone there a time or two.
They're doing a lot of really cool updates. We just sat really through. Cool. We did the county commission meeting last week.
They're almost rebuilding it from the ground up.
Well, and they did a presentation about what they're going to add on to it, so I'm pretty excited about what they're going to do. I definitely want to visit after those renovations are done.
At the time of recording this episode, I think they're going to open either late spring or early summer. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be kind of cool for
2021
of this year. Yeah. So it would be kind of cool maybe later on down the line, maybe either for the grand opening or during its initial thing. That'd be cool for us to check it out.
I am excited that some of the exhibits are going to be a little bit bigger because I think the way the zoo is now, for the animals that they have, I feel like the exhibits are very small. Like there's not a lot of room.
Hippos and stuff.
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of room for the animals are on display, but there's not a lot of room for them.
Well, that's the controversy right now with like circuses and zoos and things like that with the animals. Well, we were talking about this during the commission meeting in the control room, Sarah, where I'm kind of on the I'm not on the fence. I mean,
no, we've been or in the cage.
Yeah, or definitely not in the cage on this one. I do see we were talking about have zoos, circuses, parks, or wildlife parks or sea life parks, have they outlived their relevance with the ability for the technology that exists now, both camera and the groups that can actually, instead of bringing animals to the people, bring the people to the animals where they actually live. But one of the things that I do know, and as long as this stays intact, a lot of zoos, or I think all zoos, like the research that they do and with endangered animals and things like that to try to both rehabilitate and also grow endangered animal populations and then moving them back to where they're at. It is, I understand the controversy that's with it. One of the things that we had talked about that's an adult kind of mindset when it comes into zoos and circuses, but for kids it's absolutely magical to be able to see real animals.
I think circuses can live without the use of animals though. Like there's enough acrobats and like fun things to keep it
it's just I think that's become the trademark. Like, honestly, when someone says circus to me, I automatically think elephants.
I'm definitely not for like circus animals and like animals just for the use of like entertainment. Unfortunately, I have a lot of friends that are like pretty anti-zoo, and I've like volunteered at the zoo there in Wichita and stuff like that. And I think that zoos have a really important place for two reasons. One, you were talking about like being able to bring people to the animals or like use cameras and stuff like that. But there's just something tangible about being close to an animal, especially for kids, in order to really make a connection with them.
I agree.
And unfortunately, a lot of the animals they aren't able to live in the wild. They're not able to live in like their original habitats and stuff like that. So zoos have also almost become a necessity just based on a lot of our own actions and stuff like that. So I think that they are almost like a necessary evil in some ways, but not. Evil's kind of a strong word, right? They're just a necessary thing that can be good if they're done right.
Well, they're like anything. I mean, any sort of a big organization, there's going to be bad that it does as well as the good, and it just depends on what you're willing to kind of look at. But I think as long as zoos are the good outweighs the bad. I don't know where we're going, but they've been an important part of myself and my family's life, and I've enjoyed them.
When I was doing the volunteer work at the zoo, dodge and poop.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that had to.
I worked with the chimpanzees, and I had to do a quick duck. They're mean.
They actually do that. Like, what was that in Madagascar? If you have any poo, fling it now. I didn't know they actually did that in real life.
They absolutely do. That was the first thing they told us was like to be careful and keep your eye on them. Don't take your eye off of them.
Did you ever get hit once though?
I didn't get hit. No.
It's bad enough when you step accidentally in poo.
Yeah, but nobody wants it thrown in their face.
Exactly. That's like the worst.
So I would say this, wrapping up here then, for all you animal lovers out there, we're all kind of stuck inside right now with our animals and stuff like that. But when everything does clear up, if you get the chance, maybe go visit a zoo, see, support some of your local conservation efforts, and hug your animals close. Thanks for listening. You can find other episodes on doublestuffpod.com or your favorite podcast app. You can also join in the fun on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Double Stuff Podcast and on Twitter at Double Stuff P, as in the letter P.